Hi guys, welcome back and welcome to my last video from Denmark. The week flew by and we had an amazing vacation here. The weather, I'm not even going to talk about it because it went from one end back in the Netherlands to the other end here in Denmark. So of course nothing went as planned, but we had an amazing week. The dogs thoroughly enjoyed their time on the beach and it was really good. So high season is starting at work, so that was a good way to relax a little bit before everything goes on at home. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about a topic that is quite controversial if you are looking on the internet for information about taking your dog on vacation to Denmark. And when you are visiting different Facebook groups, for example, there are always two groups. You have one group of people that say Denmark is heaven on earth for dogs. You absolutely must go there, absolutely recommend it. And you have one group of people that say do never ever take your dog to Denmark because it is one horror. Denmark should be dog friendly. If your dog is having an incident with another dog, your dog should be taken away from you, being euthanized, stuff like that. So yeah, we were a little bit hesitant as well 3 years ago when we first planned on going to Denmark, because then you have no experience at all and you think, well, which of those groups do I have to believe? And after visiting Denmark for 3 years, I think that I've been able to give my proper opinion. So today I would like to share that with you in case you have your doubts about going with your dog to Denmark, for example, or just considering Denmark as a vacation destination and you are totally blank on information. So if this subject is interesting to you, please stay tuned. Well, the biggest horror stories that you can find on the internet is that when your dog is having an incident with other dogs, it is true you have to call the police here, and or the police will be involved if you cannot solve it by yourself. And a lot of horror stories say that once that's happening, the police is taking your dog instantly, euthanizing it, and you can go home without your dog. Well, there was a time that was true, but that is years ago. Nowadays rules are still quite strict here, but I think that's good, because if you see, for example, in Netherlands or in Germany what a mess it can be in regards to the behavior of dog owners, I think it's really good that the rules are really strict here. But yeah, if your dog is involved in an incident, yeah, well, the police will be there, or whatever instance is coming for those kind of incidents, and you will have to pay fine and everything for that, but they do not take your dog, they do not euthanize it straight away. Once your dog is in an incident with another dog and it's a heavy incident, so your dog really injured another dog, nowadays you do have time to leave the country. So if something is happening, you're not losing your dog straight away. And the horror stories are still going on the internet, but do not believe them. And yes, it is true, not every dog is welcome in Denmark. There is a list of dogs you cannot bring into the country. But those are the so-called high-risk dogs. So those are not the dogs like Max and Ravi are. Those are not little poodles. Those are not little French bullies or something. Not that kind of dog. So always make sure that to check your list if you are having a high-risk dog, to see if your dog's welcome in Denmark. But if your dog isn't on that list, there shouldn't be any problems at all. Usually when you're traveling within Europe, there isn't any border control. But be aware, when you are traveling to Denmark, there's not always occupied. This year we could pass without any control, but all the previous times we had a control for the passports of the dogs. Our papers were not checked, but the papers of the dogs were. So if you are traveling to Denmark, make sure that everything is in order, that your dog has the rabies vaccine, that's what they're checking on most, that it has been microchipped, and that your microchip has been registered on your personal details. And they do not check on any other vaccination, so that's up to you if you're having your dog giving his vaccinations. We are not standard giving our dog vaccinations. We are having a blood tested, stuff like that. And that's all accepted. So that's so-called titteren in the Netherlands, and that's been accepted. So if you have your papers in order and you do not have a high-risk dog, nothing will hold you back on the border, and you do not have to be afraid of those border controls either. And then several people say, well, Denmark is absolutely not dog friendly because dogs are allowed nowhere. Well, I think that is absolutely not right. You can do a lot in Denmark with your dog. You see it on my videos from this year, from last year, the year before. A lot of things you can do with your dog. In a lot of museums they are welcome, several shops you can take them in. And yes, there is one general rule: dogs are not allowed in restaurants. And then you can say, well, that's normal. Other people say, well, why not? Because in the Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, France, it's usually no problem at all to take your dog into a restaurant. So when you are coming to Denmark, and that's in Scandinavia in general, it's just a general rule. And in my opinion, that doesn't make Denmark unfriendly to dogs, because it's just a rule that comes from the government and not from restaurant owners here. Because on the terraces they are welcome everywhere, and practically every restaurant has a bowl of water in front of the door to welcome dogs on their terrace. So it is not that Denmark isn't dog friendly because they are not allowed in restaurants. That's just a general rule. It's a rule that might be normal for the rest of Europe, but in Scandinavia, it's just a rule: dogs are not allowed in a restaurant. And in my opinion, that does not make Denmark dog unfriendly. And that brings me to the Danish people as well, in their reaction or their behavior towards dogs. They are really dog friendly. You get a lot of nice reactions. People are smiling when you are hiking with those little guys like we do. I already mentioned that when Ravi and I were hiking the Gendarmsteen Trail 2 years ago, that everybody is giving such a nice reaction. And although we do not understand all of them, because Danish, the language, well, it is a bit of a struggle to learn it, but I'm starting to understand more and more things, but not everything. But you can see on the reaction from people that they are positive, they are friendly, and they are good. So Danish people in general are super dog friendly as well. And if you would like to take your dog out in the outdoors, then Denmark is paradise, because dogs are allowed pretty much every trail. Every long distance hike in Denmark, you can practically do it completely with a dog. There are some sections where you cannot enter with your dog, because there are, if I say it correctly, 2 national parks in Denmark where dogs are not allowed. But if you make a little mistake, Danish people do not punish you straight away. We made a mistake this week. We were driving towards the beach and we passed the sign that says dogs not allowed. But we thought that was just a little section of nature. And so we drove in there, and about halfway we passed through sort of a ranger who stopped us and said the dogs were not allowed in that area, and not even in the car. And he just spoke at a really nice tone to us, really friendly, not angry or anything, and he was just explaining to us, and we had the chance to turn around and go back. So if you make a little mistake because you do not see a sign, or you do see a sign like we did but you did not have the opportunity to turn around with your car, so you have to drive a little bit further, it's not a big drama. I mean, you can fix your mistakes, and that's what I really like about the Danish people. They stay really calm, they stay really friendly, and they are really willing to help you out. Same with camping. A lot of campings here accept dogs. Vacation homes, you have loads to choose from when you're taking a dog with you. If you would like to go wild camping on those so-called bivouac places, they're not really called bivouacs here, but with those shelters and everything, 9 out of 10 you can take a dog with you, but just stick to the general rule of that your dog has to be on leash. I mentioned that in a video earlier this week when we were visiting the Hunsko, so the dog forest. That's also something that you can see that Denmark is really dog friendly. In general, you have to have your dog on leash, but as an alternative they offer special dog forests, and yeah, that's really a nice thing. And if you're if you're keeping your dog on the leash, those Danish people are really friendly as well. And there are Danish people that let their dog run off leash, but as soon as they see you, they take their dog, call them towards them, and they put them on the leash, so there will not be any incidents. And I must be honest, you see at the beach here, for example, you see dogs running free, but they are all German dogs, and I experienced that also in the Eifel. I do not want to blame any German people in general or blackmail them or something, but yeah, it is a fact. If dogs are off leash here, they are all German and they refuse to take their dog on leash. But the Danish people, they easily speak to those people, and although they might not listen, but it's all being said in a really calm way. One thing you have to be aware of in regards to dogs is that the Danish people sort of seem to expect that your dog is behaving, and you can really make notice of that, because when you're walking to a little village, no dog is barking. And when a dog is barking, for example from a car or giving a reaction to another dog that's passing by, you see that everybody's looking to that dog. So it is a sort of rule etiquette that your dog should behave well. So if you have a dog that has been really reactive towards other dogs and is barking a lot, growling a lot on the leash, then you might have to consider Denmark, especially when you would like to visit towns and everything. If you just go walk in the woods and have your dog on leash, there wouldn't be any problem. But if you would like to visit places where there are many dogs, same with those hunskos, so those dogs forest, they do expect that your dog behaves well. So you have to make sure that you know from your own dog, is he really that kind to other dogs, isn't he? And if he isn't, is Denmark the right destination? And of course, dog can bark. I mean, Ravi is sometimes barking as well, and it's not that you're being kicked out of the country straight away, but you see when it's happening that people are looking at you, so be aware of that. But I don't see it as a negative thing, but it's just something to keep in mind when you have a reactive dog. So in general, do I recommend Denmark for a vacation with your dog? Absolutely, 1000%. And this was our 3rd time here, and definitely not the last one. If you are just behaving normal, sticking to the general rules like dog on leash on the beach, for example, now in summertime, taking your dog on leash in general when you're in the woods, making sure that your dog is social, that your dog is allowed to travel into the country, and that you have all the papers are fine, then Denmark is true paradise, especially for dogs. They are allowed at the beach, they are allowed in the woods, you can take them easily on vacation with you. I don't think there's anything, if you have everything in order, that should be hesitant to bring your dog along, because yeah, it is really cool here for both of you, if you ask me. So I hope that this video was helpful to you, that it could give you a little bit of information on what to keep in mind when you would like to travel to Denmark with your dog. Maybe you are doubting if it is the right decision for you or not, or just wanted to have some general information. If you would like to know anything more about this subject, always feel free to ask in the comment box below or send us an email. And if I know the information, I will give it to you. And otherwise, I would be happy to help you out and search it for you on the internet and send you a link with information and everything. So I hope that you liked this video. If you did, give us a like, subscribe to the channel and notify the alarm bell. And then as always, enjoy the outdoors. We will catch you on the next trail, and the next time we will be back home again. Goodbye.